WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Happy Monday, Wolo and friends. I'm not Dave Woloshin. I'm Bryant Dacus. Dave's out this week, and Jay Morgan also out today. He's still out. He's still sick. Hopefully, we get him back in the next day or so. Really miss having him around here. But with me today, Zach Boyd. You heard him earlier with mornings. He's going to stick around with me for this hour, and then the next 2 hours for Johnny Harden's happy hour, because John is also out today. Zach, how we doing this morning?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. When the announcer guy said Dave Woloshin, I was like, man, Dave really
Dave.
put on some moisturizer, man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm definitely not Dave Woloshin, but I'll try to emulate him as best I can for the next hour, and then I'll have to try to emulate John, which is a character contrast.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's.
I'm curious to know what type of stories you're gonna pull out with that one.
What's up, guys? Johnny Harden's happy hour. I don't know how I'm gonna pull that off, but we'll see what happens. Zach, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Like I mentioned on mornings, I tweaked my ankle a little bit.
How'd you do that?
We was playing kickball.
Ooh,
very competitive.
Kickball.
Very competitive.
I mean, if it's not competitive, is it really kickball?
No. And so I think
diving play or something.
I think when I was trying to get back to first, I think that's when it happened, because it was like instant. It was like, oh, I need to get back to first, because the guy caught the ball, and I was like, and then I slid head first into the base.
Tweaked your ankle.
It tweaked my ankle
just like that.
Just a little bit. It wasn't. It's not too bad.
I remember the worst time I tweaked my ankle. It was a high ankle sprain. I was playing rec basketball, and the kid guarding me was probably a foot shorter than me. And I went up for a rebound, and he did not go up for the rebound. He tried to box me out while I was in the air.
Oh,
I came down on the side of my foot.
Yeah, that's...
And you know how it is in high school when you're playing rec ball and you're trying to, like, act all tough and stuff. And, I had some people come. You have your friends come to the games and stuff.
Wait, Bryant Dacus was acting tough?
I had a couple ladies in the stands.
What? Like, I'm curious to know what was that like.
Well, I tried to get up and, like, play on it. And I was like, because I was like on the ground, I was like, my ankle. And then I was like they stopped the game, like they blew their whistles. They were like, stop. And they everyone came over to me, and I was like, no, I'm fine. Get off me. And I tried to walk down the court. I could not walk on it. I fell again. I was like, all right, I'm done. And then it was not great afterwards. I had to go to the doctor and get into a boot. But that's my story for the worst, I guess, ankle injury I've had. Thankfully, I've had pretty good health playing high school football and stuff. Didn't get too injured through that. But it is what it is. Zach, my weekend was not great, I'll have to say. Between the Cardinals getting knocked out of the playoffs, which we'll talk about later, that wasn't fun. And then what happened with the Tigers Friday night was also not fun.
Oof.
Obviously, both of us alumni of the university, so we definitely have rooting interest. I also cover the Tigers, so that was not fun Friday night, what happened. And so I guess let's just start there.
Do we got to, man?
We got to. I'm trying to emulate Dave, so we got to talk. We got to talk Tigers right off the bat.
Okay.
Friday night was not fun. It was fun.
No, it was fun.
Until the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Twitter was definitely having fun.
Well, because here's the thing.
Twitter was definitely having fun.
We talked last week about this game. And my biggest point, and I tried to harp this all week long, was that the Tigers have to start fast. If you start fast, then you put yourself in a great scenario to win the ballgame. And we've seen them, though, a couple weeks before this week, get out to slow starts, and they're having to play from behind, or they're playing, they're just trying to keep their lead. They give them the ball back. It's a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. Well, now your defense has to bow up and get a stop. And so my biggest thing was get out there fast, put some points on the board, kind of, you can be comfortable the rest of the way. And that's what they did Friday night. They get out there. Houston gets the ball first. Defense gets a stop. Offense comes down. Brandon Thomas, 2-yard touchdown run. Houston gets the ball back again. What happens? They get another turnover. I think that's the 11th straight game with a turnover for the Tigers. It's one of the best in the country. They've been tremendous getting turnovers. Quindell Johnson gets an interception. Offense gets the ball back. They drive down the field again, and Seth Hennigan finds Caden Prescorn around the 5-yard line. He basically walks in for another touchdown. Memphis is up 14-0. All is swell. I mean, this is the best start we've had all year. I'm excited. Everyone else in Memphis is excited. Twitter's going crazy. This is the best first quarter we've ever seen. Then the second half rolls around. Houston starts making some noise. Then we get to the fourth quarter. Up, 2019 or something like that? Houston goes down. They score a touchdown. Makes it 29-19, so 10-point game. Memphis drives down. Chris Howard, who's been fantastic this year, kicks a field goal. 13-point game. And then 2 touchdowns by Houston gives Houston their first lead of the game with 18 seconds left because they recovered an onside kick. Zach, take me through what was going on in your mind during that onside kick.
In my mind, I'm part of me was like, okay, cool, like we could win this game, but then that unease feeling is like, like this. It's like I could feel the momentum like going the other way, and the onside kick was, that was almost like
crushing.
That was the nail in the coffin. Like again, like Houston still had to go down the field and score. Yeah. But I mean, you gave up a kickoff. What was the kickoff return for a touchdown before?
That was right before Memphis drove down and kicked a field goal. So they had the 100-yard kickoff return, which was really the swinger of momentum. I mean, that's what really got them that momentum to finish the game. It started with that kick return.
So it's. I mean, man, I really don't know what to say because it was like, you had the lead, and then Houston started scoring touchdowns, but you kept responding with field goals. So you was like, you was giving up 4 points pretty much every defensive possession. Yeah. So you thought mathematically they were gonna pull it off. Even with the onside kick, you thought, okay, just recover this kick and we win the game. That's it.
Well, and that's a good point you just made, is that after the first 2 touchdowns, the next 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 5 times Memphis scored, it was with a field goal. So they were able to drive down. It's just they couldn't finish, and I think that's something that the coaches have been harping on for a couple weeks now, is just execution. The execution offensively just isn't there. The play call might be the right play call, and it might look good. It's just not getting executed on the field. And that it hurt. I think that loss hurt more just because of how well the team looked in the first half. Because everything that they needed to do to win that game went right. Get out to a fast start. Get a turnover on defense. Get some stops. Everything went right in that first half. You're up 26-7 into starting the fourth quarter, basically. They score with about 15 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And they're up 26-7. You're pretty much putting that one to bed. But again, this Houston team came in with a losing record, but not necessarily a bad team. I mean, have some weapons, and we saw them Friday night. We saw those weapons, and specifically was Samuel Brown, a freshman wide receiver that just tore the Tigers up, especially in the fourth quarter. He had 116 yards on 9 catches. He had 12 targets. They did a pretty good job on Nathaniel Dell, who was their leading receiver coming into the game. He only had 81 yards on 10 receptions. But I think, it's great to stop the leading receiver, but if all of his yardage is going to go to somebody else, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, and that's kind of been a problem for this defense is, yeah, they get turnovers. They also can give up a lot of yards defensively, and I just don't know. I don't know when that turns into getting more stops defensively.
Was it more about getting stops or just keeping your foot on the gas?
I think
offensively.
it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, you'd like some of those field goals to turn into touchdowns because if some of those field goals are touchdowns, there's no way Houston can come back.
Right.
So I think it's definitely a little bit of that.
Because like you said, like Houston scored 2 touchdowns to close the game.
They scored
to close the game, but they were still scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
Trying to get back into the game.
They scored 3 touchdowns in the last 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, very hard.
It's hard to do. So I think it could be a little bit of that focus, kind of losing that focus late in the game. You have this 26-7 lead. You think you've got the game wrapped up, and then poof, they recover an onside kick. So not great. We got a text from 901 Steve. He said, "Yeah, Friday was an implosion. Too soft on defense in the last minutes of the game. Bad game management on plays and not calling strategic timeouts. Clearly on coaching, sorry to say. With top recruiting and an All-American quarterback, Ryan's job is in jeopardy."
Okay. So where do you stand on that?
On the text?
Oh no, on Silverfield's job. Where do you stand on that?
I mean, here's the thing. I think if you go bowling, there shouldn't be much complaint. That's the goal, right? Is to get into a bowl game.
A bowl.
And so, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because here's the problem with, and I'm not saying with fans at all. I mean, I think fans have a right to be upset with how Friday went. But the problem is look where we were 7 years ago. We'd be thrilled of what Ryan Silverfield's doing this year. If this was 2010, I'd be ecstatic that they lost to Houston by a point and have a 4-2 record going into week 7.
Took a onside kick for them to win the touchdown.
I'd be ecstatic. But after you had so much success with Fuente, and after you had so much success with Norvell, and now it just seems like year after year since Silverfield's taken over, it's almost a step down. I think that's where people kind of get, I don't know about Silverfield. I don't know about his job. And, I mean, there has been some play calls that I've been like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a 22-year-old guy who talks on the radio. I'm not a coach by any sense, so I can't really speak on his play calling. You know, he knows way more than I do. But I don't know. What do you think about it? I mean, I'm kind of in a weird place with it.
Yeah. So at this point, because I know a lot of fans, they've been pretty much calling for his job,
which I get,
and
why
I
they're
understand,
upset.
right?
There's been so much success lately that this is like almost a disappointment.
And I'm not coming on this airways trying to defend how y'all feel. So that's not what I'm going to do. That's not what I'm going to do. If you really believe that you want to let him go, you can let him go. You can have that belief to let him go.
Yeah.
The only reason why I'm saying this is that the only reason why I'm kind of like just in this middle ground of whether to fire him or keep him is that, one, because he's really, this is like the first true season that he has had.
That's a good point.
This actual true season minus COVID and everything. And then 2, like he's pretty much been replacing assistants every season. So there's a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Now, by me saying that, that's still no excuse to losing last Friday's game. You had a big lead. You should have closed it out, but you didn't. That's no excuse.
Yeah. And I think you can be disappointed with Friday night's loss. But also, we're going into week 7. I mean, there's still a lot of season left. And you've got, I said it last week, I'll say it again, I think you have one of the best quarterbacks in the conference on your team right now. And I think you have weapons. I think it's just getting execution. I think if those receivers can start, putting things together, kind of get on the same page, I think you can start doing something offensively. Defenses look really good. I don't think the season is over.
No.
I've seen a lot of people kind of just almost seem like, oh, the season is just done. That was such a bad loss. And yeah, I mean, I'm not happy with the loss either, but you've got some good opponents coming up. You get some wins there. You turn this around. There's still an opportunity to be an 8-win team. I'm not saying they're going to be an 8-win team, but, I mean, we're only halfway through the season.
Yeah. We're just getting close to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time left.
So the 2 road games coming up, East
Big
Carolina,
road games.
Tulane.
Huge, massive road games.
If you split both of those road games
Oh, you got to be happy with that.
and going to the bye, I take that.
You're going to be – because I already saw the line came out yesterday for this week's game against East Carolina. It's 4, I think, is what I saw it at. So you're going to be an underdog this week unless that line just completely flips, and you'll be an underdog next week against Tulane unless something crazy happens and they lose half their starters. So you're going to be an underdog in both these games. If you can come out of there with one win, I think you got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
Now you're 5-3.
5-3
going into a bye week,
and then you got a 3-game homestand against.
and one of those games is North Alabama.
Yes.
So I don't want to promise anything, but if you're going to the bye week with a 5-3 record,
and you just need 6 games to get
safe to assume you're going to a bowl game.
Yeah, I think it's still possible for them to go to a bowl. Now,
I think it's almost probable they'll get to a bowl game.
But because I know most fans want to be a part of the championship game.
Sure. Everybody wants that.
Everybody,
that's not a problem.
Yeah.
And especially like I said, past success. You want to continue that not tradition, but you want to keep that momentum going. I get it.
And so, realistically, the only way you can possibly get to the championship game, you got to beat Tulane. You got to beat UCF.
You got to win these next 2
You
games.
got to
And that's only the start, really.
right, and that's just.
But not. I mean, yeah, that's the start. But I mean, this was their first conference loss. And when you think about everything, this was the first conference loss. They looked bad against Temple. They didn't look great against North Texas, but they're 2-1 in conference play.
Yeah, 2-1.
So, I mean, you only have 1 loss in conference play. If you win these next 2 games, you're still close to the top at in the conference rankings.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be honest. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that the American Athletic Conference is not as strong as it's been in the past, and I will agree with that. Houston isn't what people thought they were going to be. Cincinnati has kind of taken a step back. They're still in the top 25, but a slight step back. And so there's not really that front runner like last year. Oh, Cincinnati's going to go to they have a chance of being in the top 4. Or, hey, the American's definitely going to get the call for the New Year's Six game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is still a very competitive conference, and there are some very good teams in there that aren't necessarily world beaters, but are teams that are going to give you tough tests. And I think you're going to see 2 of those teams in the next 2 weeks. Really, 3 of those teams in the next 4 weeks. This is a tough stretch for the Tigers. Houston, at ECU, at Tulane, and then home against UCF after a bye week. That's a tough stretch for any team.
And all you ask for them is go on the road and get 1.
Just get 1.
Hopefully, it's the one against Tulane. But preferably, just get both of those games.
Preferably win both of them.
Just win both of these games and just be all right with it.
But it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think both these teams are going to throw the ball. And so that defense has got to get some stops and not give up a lot of yards through the air. How many yards did Clayton Tune have through the air? Let's look. He had 366 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. That interception was huge, but it was on the second drive of the game. And after that, he threw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many yards he had on the first drive, but I'd say probably at least 350 yards after that.
Yeah. And then we didn't have a good game running the football either.
But I don't think I just don't know if that's ever going to happen. I mean, you look at it and you say 156 is good, but also the group averaged 3.8 yards per carry, which isn't promising, isn't fantastic, but I think you're gonna have to rely on the pass game, which is good because you've got a great quarterback. I saw this this graph on Twitter like right before we came on, and this was the last thing we'll talk about for the Tigers in this segment, and then we'll go to break. But it's basically college football's most efficient teams through week 6. And basically it's like a graph. It's cut into 4s. If your team is to the right and up, that means you have a good defense and a good offense.
Yep.
If your team is to the left and up, that means you have a good offense but a bad defense pretty much. If you're down and to the left, that means you're just pretty much bad in both categories. And then if you're down to the right, that means your offense is bad, but you have a good defense. Memphis is in the top right corner. So they're barely, I will say that, they're not way above the line for offense.
Statistically.
But statistically, they're in that top category. So I think that means you have a good offense, you have a good defense. You just got to put that together. I still think there's promise for this team. Some other teams over here that I think is, funny to see is James Madison is one of the best defenses in the country. And we'll talk about them later because they've been a great story. They're in the top 25 this
Put some
week.
respect
Put
on
some
them.
respect on JMU. We do overreactions on Mondays on Sportstime in the afternoon from 3 to 6. And last week, my overreaction was that James Madison's going to get a bid to the Big Ten. It's a defensive conference.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's a defensive conference. Well, they're wanting to expand. Why? They keep wanting to expand to the West Coast. That's the problem. If we're going for world domination as a conference here, you can't just keep going west. This isn't, the last frontier where we're just trying to push west and get gold. Move to the Atlantic coast. Don't go after Clemson. Don't go after Florida State. James Madison. Right there waiting for you.
James Madison is in what conference?
The Sun Belt. Fun Belt.
Sun Belt?
Fun Belt. That's right. So they just had the Big Ten's been talking to him for a while, is my theory. And they were like, we just need you to – we can't call you up from FCS and immediately put you in the Big Ten. So we're going to call you up. And, no, come on now. If Big Ten's adding the FCS school, laughingstock. So we're going to call you up. You're going to be in the Fun Belt for a year, 2 years, couple years. And then you'll get the call to the big leagues. We'll bring you to the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's called the American Athletic Conference.
No. That's the Big Ten. Just wait. When it happens, don't come calling me. I'll tell you what. We need to get to a break. On the other side, yesterday Grizzlies had an open practice. We'll talk a little bit about that. It looked fun. And we'll do that on the other side. You're listening to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wolo said hello. So what if summer's coming to a close? It'll be back, and you'll be ready with a new spa. Why's that? Because the world's biggest spa sale is happening right now at Family Leisure. Right now, through October the 2nd, you will get the best ever prices on spas. Family Leisure has a large selection of spas still in stock and ready to ship, and up to 30% off. Yes, 30% off in-stock spas. You want a swim spa? Now's the time to buy with huge discounts just for you. Special financing is available. Plus, you can get free upgrades on select spas. Just ask about it. Family Leisure also has fantastic deals on saunas and massage chairs. So, while summer is coming to a close, you should be opening up to a new spa during the world's biggest spa sale happening right now through October the 2nd at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. Make sure your HVAC system is ready for the weather ahead by scheduling a $69 heating or cooling system tune-up with Conway Services today. Act now, and we'll give you a voucher for a free heating or cooling system tune-up to share with a friend or family member.
License number 64210, 64365, EAS MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
This song makes me think of the London game yesterday in the NFL. I thought it was really cool. I woke up and got to see the second half of it, and every time they went to a break, they played British bands. So I think like the Beatles was in there, the Who was in there.
This is the Beatles?
No, it's the Who.
Oh.
No, it's not the Beatles. It could be the Beatles. It's not the Beatles. It's the Who.
My knowledge of rock bands in the late, in the 70s, 80s ish, is not as high. It's not. Yeah. It's not as long.
I'm more of a '60s rock fan. 50s and 60s.
Excuse me, sir.
Elvis. Oh, Elvis is my favorite artist. I love Elvis.
I'm aware of this.
I love Elvis. Sam Cooke. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. I guess those aren't really rock guys, but still, I love those guys. 70s and 80s, that's kind of where I fade off. I was born in the wrong generation, but you're listening to Wolo and Friends. I'm clearly not Dave Woloshin. Bryant Dake is here with Zach Boyd, and we got some breaking news right, I guess, around when we started the show, maybe a little after. But Matt Rule is out in Carolina. They fired him this morning after a 1-4 start for the Panthers. He was 11-27 in 3 seasons as the Panthers coach, and things just did not go well for him in his time at Carolina. But I don't think it's the worst thing to happen to him, honestly.
That means paycheck's gonna be pretty nice the next.
It's gonna be nice, but also I think he's way more suited for college football.
Definitely.
Maybe not now because the landscape has changed so much since he coached college football. But maybe not. He's been dealing with professionals, and now he's gonna go back to college, and all these kids are gonna be getting paid. So almost like professionals. So
Yeah, no, I don't think
it's more similar,
No.
maybe.
I think he he needs to get back into college.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some big openings up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Nebraska. I mean, there's some big openings. I think that could be good for him to go back to college, get one of these big jobs, and kind of get back on his feet. But things have not been good for the Panthers. They lost yesterday to San Francisco. I was really high on the Panthers last year. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, like I had them in my playoffs.
Why?
I, for some reason, and do not ask why, I was super high on Sam Darnold.
No.
I was super high on him. So I think what happened was I wasn't a huge fan of him in college. Then he gets drafted, and I was like, whatever. But then I played like a Jets franchise on Madden, and I was like, dude, Sam Darnold is awesome. And so I was like, yeah, Sam Darnold, all he needs is like change of scenery, get back on his feet. This guy can win MVP. And so I was super high on Sam Darnold and the Panthers, and I was like, they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, no.
And they didn't.
No.
And then they got Baker this year, and I was like, I don't think they're going to like be great, but I think Baker Mayfield can still be a starting quarterback somewhere.
No.
And I was wrong on that too.
No.
So if it comes to quarterbacks, specifically just quarterbacks with the Panthers, don't come to me asking if they're going to be good or not, because I'm probably just going to say they're going to be good and they're going to fail.
Yeah, they'll be better off just playing P.J. Walker the rest of the year. I don't know if he's still on the team.
I think he's still on the team. I was looking at their stats, and it's only been him and
Isn't Matt
Baker that have logged
time?
Yeah, because Matt Corral's injured. He's out.
Yeah,
for the year.
he's out for the year. So.
But that, I mean, I think Matt Corral's probably the future there.
Yeah, you might as well go
long-term.
ahead, get ready to kickstart Corral's development.
I guess
next season.
let Baker finish out the season, and then maybe hand the keys over next year.
That's
if
if
he
the
comes back.
new head coach even wants
true.
Matt Corral.
When Matt Corral, the injury, I think a Liz Frank injury or something like that. I don't know what.
That's in his foot.
Yeah. That's what his injury is, and that's the same injury Des Bryant had. And
Yeah.
basically, like, Des couldn't recover from that injury. And so a lot of people are kind of worried Matt Corral won't be able to recover from the injury. But Matt Corral, he's got a lot of heart. I think he'll be fine. But that is the breaking news, Matt Luke. Not Matt Luke. What am I saying? Matt Rule.
Matt
Luke was the old coach at Ole Miss. Matt Rule out in Carolina for the Panthers. We'll talk some NFL a little later during John's show. Because I want to talk a little bit about the Grizzlies. Their season gets started next week.
Yep.
But they had open practice yesterday at the FedEx Forum. You were not there for open practice yesterday.
I was not.
It looked fun. Have you been to an open practice for them?
No, I have not. But looking at the pictures, looking at the videos,
Looked like there was a good crowd.
Good crowd. The Laurel Bowl was pretty much was filled.
Which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been to an open practice. If I had, time and an opportunity, I probably would go. But I just when I think about it, on a Saturday afternoon, it doesn't seem to me like something that a ton of people would just be like, "Yeah, let's go downtown and watch the Grizzlies practice for like an hour and a half." It doesn't seem like a lot of people would go, but that's why I was kind of surprised there was such a big crowd there. Which is good. It's great to see.
It was a Sunday, so
Yeah.
I was contemplating going myself. I was like, I could go, but then like once 10 o'clock came around, and then social media posts started popping up, people waiting in line. I'm like,
Hey, look, I mean, it was packed outside before they opened the doors.
yeah, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Yeah, so that's great to see because clearly a lot of excitement about the season. I think there should be. I think they're going to be a really good team again. Obviously, some injuries going into the season that could hurt them early. Talking about Jaren Jackson Jr., but I saw Ja, some nice dunks. He was playing shirtless while everybody else kept their jerseys on. I saw Santi. Did you see the reverse dunk from Santi on the lob from Lofton? That was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It was fun. I saw Ja afterwards, taking time signing autographs over by the garage.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the season. I think I asked you last week. We have a couple more preseason games under our belt. Is Santi still the guy at the 4?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he will be.
Good.
He will be.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. It fits like you could tell, like, especially the first first quarter against Miami, like, yeah, like having Santi out on the floor with Steven Adams to kind of like, you know, the spacing of the paint, you know, bringing Santi out on the perimeter a little bit, like, yeah, like it fits. Wouldn't say is like Jaren, but you know I guess the talent, I guess, is sort of similar, so you can still run the same actions, or maybe different actions or adjusted actions that you want. With the same guys on the floor.
Well, and I think I said this last week, and if I did, I'll just briefly say it again. I think Santi's a lot better than I think a lot of people think he is. Had a really good year last year in the G League, a really good summer league. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Last thing basketball I want to mention just real quick. Last night, the Golden State Warriors played the Lakers. Just some notes there. James Wiseman had 13 points, 6 rebounds off the bench, so he's still looking good in the early preseason minutes that he's playing. Hopefully he can have a full healthy season this year and stay on the floor for Golden State. But the biggest story last night was Jordan Poole, after getting nearly sucker punched by Draymond Green late last week, went off last night. He took all his frustration towards Draymond Green and took it out on the Lakers. He had 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds in 23 minutes. So a really good game. Also 2 steals for the Poole party. I haven't talked to you since that whole situation happened between Draymond and Poole party. Before I ask you your thoughts on it, I'll just go out and say I was on here saying, I guess whenever it happened, Wednesday or Thursday, that I was like, yeah, it happens. Guys get into it. Whatever. Then the video came out, and I was like, yeah, this is way worse than I ever thought it would be. What did you think of that situation?
I was like, okay, like at first before the video, I'm like, okay, Draymond punched somebody. Like, okay, that's not new.
Not new. I'm like, whatever.
He tends to look like a person that would punch somebody. Like that's just his personality.
Just happens,
yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah, but then the video came out. I'm like, jeez, like he nearly put that man to sleep.
It looked like he did at first.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I do think I think he was seeing stars there for a second, and then kind of came to.
Like Poole pushed him, and he like.
Yeah,
it was like
I mean, it just something snapped in him when he got pushed. It was ugly.
Whew, that was bad. That was
really bad. Over the weekend, Draymond announced he was going to step away from the team for a little bit. I don't think he said exactly how long he was going to step away for. Just kind of a little bit. Probably this week.
The rest of the preseason.
Yeah, and then he'll be back.
He'll be back for home opener.
Yeah, whenever they play their first game. I'm excited for the NBA season. I think it's going to be a really good year. I think. The West is going to be really, really good this year with seemingly every team healthy this year. I know we had some injuries last year in the West.
I know I said this last year, but I think this year, like, there's a nice, healthy balance of talent on each team.
Yeah.
Even on the bad teams, even on teams that you know they're like, yeah, they're going to be in the lottery.
Yeah.
But they got some talent on their teams.
Yeah.
Like they got some young players that they could be excited for. So I think, but as far as like the top, 18, 20 teams.
Yeah.
Like there is some balance. Like there's some teams that have talent.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping that no one gets hurt, so we can just see this fulfilled towards the end of the playoffs.
Have a fun season. I think you're right. I think that's kind of the way the NBA is now, is just everybody that's coming into the league is just so athletic. And so you have these teams that are, I mean, Pistons last year. Pistons were not a good team last year, but man, they were fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I found myself watching the Pistons like every night that they played last year because, one, they were covering the spread on almost all of their games.
Of course.
And, yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing.
For you, that's
For me, that's the most important thing. And then secondly, I mean, they just had some fun players. I mean, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey. I mean, they had some really, really fun guys to watch. And this year, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey. I mean, they're going to be a really, really fun team to watch this year. So I don't think they're going to be great. I mean, they might make a play-in, but I don't think they're like a playoff caliber team. And they're still going to be a really fun team to watch. But also, like, I've been talking to some people about it, and they'll be like, do you think the Grizzlies can get a 2 seed again. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And they're like, so the Grizzlies are going to be worse this year than they were last year. I'm like, no, not necessarily. I think they can be equally as good, maybe a slight step back, with Jaren out to start the season. Maybe you struggle a little early and still only get like a 4 seed or 5 seed just because of how good the West is going to be this year.
Yeah. And that's really like the only thing. Like that's because again, you expect teams like the Nuggets to be better. You expect
the Clippers are going to be
the Clippers they're going to be better. Hopefully, we'll see more Kawhi, and it's not that the Grizzlies are bad or going to be bad. No. It's just the talent in the West.
Everybody around you's getting better.
Yeah,
and not even better. It's just healthy.
Yeah, everybody's healthy again, and so that's always a thing of right around the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
every player, every team is healthy around this time of year.
Yeah.
For the most part, healthy. So, yeah, like I think the Grizzlies can get a top 4, maybe number 4.
Yeah,
like at the at the highest, probably number 4. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they decided we're just gonna up the ante again this year. We're gonna get the number 1 pick, number 1 seed in the West.
Which it's so fun to even be able to talk about the Grizzlies like that, because I know we always reminisce on Sportstime a lot of times when we talk about the Grizzlies and what they can do this year, and we look back at last year and it's like everyone was projecting them to be like an 8th seed at best, and they just come out guns a-blazing and end up getting the 2 seed. So you really never know, and I think that speaks a lot to the chemistry, the talent they have. I think from top bottom, we always talk about how they go for their guys in the draft. They kind of have that player type that they want to get, and they seemingly always get in. They kind of talked about it yesterday after that open practice. A couple of the guys, I think Desmond Bain, just kind of was praising their teammate chemistry, kind of saying how it's hard in this league. Just everyone is trying to really get their own. Everyone's trying to make it in this league, and for that team, everybody from John Morant to the last role player on the bench to be bought in to the team, and hey, we have one goal on this team, and it's to get to the playoffs and get deep in the playoffs. It's really cool to see.
Right.
But last thing I do want to mention about the open practice last night is really the only reason I wanted to bring up open practice today. Did you see Kennedy Chandler's dance moves?
Yeah, he was doing the paper chase.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the paper?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm making sure.
No, I'm not sitting here. I didn't know what he was doing yesterday. He was just dancing around, and no, I'm quite aware of the paper chase, and I was very surprised when I saw him pull that out.
Because I was like, I remember doing that in middle school.
I'm saying he's 18, 19? I mean,
we used to do that all in the hallways all the time.
So very cool to see Kennedy Chandler, the hometown hero for the Grizzlies, winning the dance challenge or dance competition, whatever they had yesterday. They make it fun. They make open practice fun, and that's what it's all about when you have all those fans there. But we do need to get to another break. On the other side, might talk some football. Might take a look back at Zach's fantasy baseball team, because I know that came to a conclusion last week. We'll see what happens. Stick around. You're listening to Wolo Friends on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When you hear the words healthy aging, do you think of vitamins, eating veggies? What if I told you it's just as important to spend time with friends, to have a purpose that gets you up each and every morning? At AmeriCare in Memphis at South Breeze, Collierville, Schilling Gardens, and in Olive Branch at Olive Grove Terrace, we believe that for healthy aging, where you live really does matter. In their smaller, more intimate community, it's easier to make friends, join fun activities, share good company at mealtimes, and feel right at home. Not only are these ingredients for healthy aging, they're part of something extra. AmeriCare AmeriCare's proactive approach to wellness. What does that mean? AmeriCare works hard to keep you healthy and strong so you can keep doing what you love. They even offer a special program designed to help reduce the risk of falling. When you maintain your health, you set a course for aging well and living happier. At AmeriCare, Memphis South Breeze, Collierville, Schilling Gardens, and an Olive Branch at Olive Grove Terrace, they can help you do both. It's a hot summer's day. You just finished cutting the lawn. Maybe you're getting off the golf course. You need something to refresh you. I've got just what the doctor ordered. In fact, it's called Poppy's Pills. Poppy's Pilsner. That's the best, and it comes from Grind City Brewing. It's light, crisp. It is that refreshing Pilsner. They say it's ultra crushable. Remember how Taco Bell stopped selling the Mexican pizza? Everybody lost their minds? Poppy Pilsner is the only thing that can ease that broken heart. Now, that came from an eyewitness named Sarah. Some people say it's sexy. It's light, it's refreshing, it's local. And for me, well, it just doesn't get any better than that. Ultra crushable, built for speed. It's available in 6-packs or 15-packs. You just ask your favorite retailer about it. Best enjoyed ice cold. It's what the doctor ordered. It's Poppy's Pills from Grind City.
I'm Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I just had to ask, Sheldon, did you really just buy a set of golf clubs and you never tried them out?
Yep, that's right.
And Sheldon, didn't you tell me whenever you buy a car, you never test drive it?
Again? Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty bizarre since you always tell people to talk to 2 or 3 agents when they sell their home?
Yes, it is. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm also with Mark Spensdorf Realtors with Kelly. It's funny, we tell people that you should always talk to more than one agent to find out not only what they think about your home, but more importantly, what they will do for you. And you really need to make sure and include us in the interview process.
I agree, because how are you going to find out about our strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option? And as people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's Sheldon Rosengarten and Kelly Erb. Call or email us at memphisrelocate.com or 682-1868. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Collierville Auto Center is all about trucks and Jeeps, and the inventory is all stocked up. Been looking for that special ride? You're covered from the basics on up. Want to sell your truck or Jeep? Then bring it in and get a fair deal. The technicians at Collierville Auto Center know just about all there is to know when it comes to trucks and Jeeps. So don't be afraid to ask questions. They've probably heard them all. Every truck on the lot has been fully serviced from top to bottom and bumper to bumper, and there are warranties available. Collierville Auto Center, 651 West Poplar in Collierville, and online at colliervilleautocenter.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
So I just heard some very interesting things during the break from Zach that we're going to jump into here in a second. But only a couple more minutes here on Wolo and Friends. I'm Brian Dacus, Zach Boyd, sitting here with me. And if you're wondering why we barely talked any NFL we only talked about the Tigers for college football. We're going to get to it. If you weren't here at the very beginning, Dave is out for the week. John is also not here. So we're going to be here for another 2 hours after this. So we're going to talk a lot of football in the next couple of hours. We're going to get to everything because it was a very, very busy weekend. So we're just trying to get it all in where we can fit it. But over the break, I was talking because Zach, if people don't know, Zach is a big fantasy sports player. I didn't know it was as big as it was until over the break. I knew he played fantasy baseball because he would tell me about some of his trades earlier in the season. Zach, how did the fantasy baseball season end? Because it ended last week, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We made it to the championship game.
Nice.
And we got smoked.
Ooh.
The only reason why I ended up losing the championship game was because most of my players were on playoff teams.
See, that's almost the worst part about fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
I would almost prefer because baseball is such a long season, I would almost prefer that they ended it a week earlier than they do because they end it the last day of the regular season.
Yeah.
I almost wish they'd end it like a week prior so not everybody's resting. Guys.
And in my mind, I thought that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
But when we went through the weekend and got to Monday, it was like still showing up like, yeah, you got games left, and I was like, oh, I got games left. Like, okay, well, let me see if I can try to make a comeback. And it's like, yeah, that's not happening.
When in fantasy baseball is like so different from fantasy football because I can almost understand if it's like a week 17. Your starting quarterback is, Josh Allen or somebody, and they're resting him, so you got to go pick up another quarterback. I get that. But when it's baseball and you're playing 4 nights in, 5 days, like, that's tough when someone's sitting. I mean, you're going to have to go find somebody who's really going to be productive. So that is hard. That's interesting.
Yeah, it ended the squad. I had Aaron Judge pretty much from the start to the end of the season.
That's huge.
Had Judge, had Austin Riley twice on my team.
Really?
Swanson. Yeah, I traded him to get Callahan from the Rays.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting him back later on. I forgot.
Wow.
I forgot what the trade was.
Reunion. Wow.
Yeah, picked up Dansby Swanson first 3 months of the season. He was on the waiver wire, and then he caught fire. So it's like,
so you got some, you caught some luck there.
Yeah. And then the pitching staff was, for the most part, they weren't healthy at the beginning of the season because I was losing everybody. And then by the time May, June, July kind of hit, that's when I kind of started to make my ascend.
Wow.
Because I was dead last for in my league for about a month and a half.
Oh, wow. And so then you start climbing.
Yeah.
Surprising everybody.
Stay the course, man.
Now, these people in your league, are they your friends or is
no.
this like a couple buddies you went to school with or something?
No, they're random. To me, they're random.
How long have you been playing? Do you play with the same group every year?
Yes.
When did this start?
I don't know. It was like because when I do fantasy, I like to join like public leagues.
So you just joined a public
league? I
league
just joined a random public league.
So these are new people this year than they were last year?
No,
same group.
The same group.
Okay, so you just like joined a group one year, and then you all just agreed after the year, like, yo, let's just run this back next year.
Yeah, because the guy was the commissioner. He was like, yeah, like we want you guys back again. I was like, okay,
wow.
Cool. Like, hey.
And you also said you play fantasy hockey.
Yeah.
You a big hockey fan?
No.
Why do you play fantasy hockey then?
Because they want to play fantasy hockey.
So same group that plays fantasy baseball plays fantasy hockey.
Yeah.
Fantasy baseball, fantasy
basketball,
fantasy football.
Yeah.
Everything.
Same
group.
We're not doing basketball this year.
Not basketball this year.
We're not.
So just hockey, baseball, and football.
I'm not a hockey guy, but I managed to win the championship my first year.
Wow. Maybe nobody's a hockey guy in this group. Wow.
I said, what did I get myself into? I don't know none of these players.
What did y'all start with? Do you remember? What sport was it that really got you going with these guys?
I want to say it was baseball.
Really? I almost would have thought it'd be football.
Yeah, no, it was baseball.
Interesting.
Because I had Giancarlo Stanton on my team that one year.
Wow. Well, I'm thinking about joining, and I guess I need to do it today if I'm going to do it. I've been thinking about joining a public hockey league or maybe even a public basketball league. And I guess if you had so much success, maybe I should just go ahead and do it and hope for the best.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, these guys, they don't really know me. They just know, like, oh yeah, there's Zach.
Do y'all like have like
who's
a
part
group
of the league.
chat or something that y'all like converse in?
Yeah, on the app.
On the app, interesting.
On the
so
app.
No like group me or
No,
regular.
like to me, these are random guys.
Random
like
guys. But but you know all of them. You're like, oh, Rob just sent me a trade.
Yeah, they got their names attached to their teams.
Interesting.
And then like I think 4 or 5 of them are related anyway.
Wow.
I guess it was
how many people?
It just depends right now, because I think we're sitting at 8.
Interesting.
For right now for our league.
Wow. So that's interesting. So Zach has a whole
I joined somebody's family's
fantasy
league.
It's grown into years of commitment. So good for you, Zach. I'm proud of you. But that's all the time. What?
I got nothing better else to do.
I mean, hey, I love it. I love fantasy sports. So whatever keeps you invested in the games. But that's all the time we have this morning for Wolo and Friends. But we're not done. No, we're not. We'll be back right around the corner for Johnny Harden's happy hour, Johnny Radio's happy hour. We'll sit in for him for the next 2 hours. We'll talk a lot of football and some baseball. But I guess for now, I'll see you in a couple minutes.